Thank you, Thomas. I want to welcome everybody to this community forum hosted by the Cape Cod branch of the NAACP in conjunction with AdMeTech Foundation. This is a prostate cancer awareness forum. We want the community to know your risk, learn advances in patient care, and take care of your health. My name is Andre King. I am the treasurer for the Cape Cod branch of the NAACP, and I will be moderator for this forum. And so to begin with, just want to clarify that Representative Kip Diggs, who will be joining us. Thank you, Representative Diggs. Kippy Diggs is the Assistant Vice Chair of the House Committee on Ways and Means, and as a champion of the Massachusetts Prostate Cancer Foundation, which has focused men at high risk of prostate cancer, including Black, Hispanic, and Latino individuals. He has a powerful personal story to tell us about his experience. So, Representative Diggs, thank you for being here, and I will turn it over to you.
Thanks, Andre. It's a pleasure to be here and talk to everybody about the importance of prostate cancer. I can say for me, it was easy to get, and I had it at age 40, so that's very young, but I found it very early, and I was able to get it treated, and I got it so early that I didn't even have to do chemo or anything extra. I've been truly blessed, but I noticed something was not right, and when got a PSA level checked, and my PSA level was elevated to a point where they thought it was dangerous. So then I had to get a biopsy, and honestly, the biopsy was the most painfulest thing that I've ever had to deal with, but also in the operation of the whole procedure, the biopsy is the most invasive, and but it's something that had to be done. I wish they would find another way of being able to find out besides a biopsy, but that's enough about that. But I was able to go. I got a prostatectomy done up at Brigham and Women's by Dr. who did just an incredible job, and he told me to make sure that I do a lot of walking, drink a lot of water, and I just really listened to the doctors 1000%, and doing the exercises and all that stuff that was just so important to do, and I really wanted to make sure that I did them. I would recommend that all Black and brown men get checked, especially early if your family members have had it, or when you hit 30, don't be scared. It's one of those things where it's easy to cure or to work with at a young age if you're able to find out soon, but it's also one of those ones that is very aggressive once it gets to a point where it starts to spread all around. So you definitely want to get it at an early time. That's really all I can say. I just recommend, it's really important that you do get checked, and regularly. And if you notice something not being right, again, get checked. And it's one of those things that will save your life. I mean, like I said, I had it at age 40, and now I've been cancer free ever since. And I'm now one more month away from my 60th birthday. So that's truly a blessing, and I'm thankful for my Lord and Savior, but also the doctors that from Brigham and Women's. That's really all I have to say. Is unless anyone wants to ask me questions or whatever.
Thank you so much, Representative Diggs. We appreciate you making the time. I know your schedule is busy, but that's quite impactful. Many of you may not know, but Representative Diggs was a world champion boxer, and he remains that in many of our eyes. That's how I first came to know. It was world champion Kippy Diggs when I was in my formative years, when I was in grammar school, and he had many events locally at the Melody Tent and throughout Massachusetts. So, he's really somebody who is respected and appreciated in Barnstable and across the Cape. So for you to tell your story about how this impacted you at the age of 40, which is not as I move on, that's 4 years in the rears for me. And your experience, it's very helpful. And I know myself personally, and really all of my friend group who are in that age bracket, I will be strongly encouraging them. And I don't want to talk too long. I know we have others, but I was just at a basketball game last night. Great league out in Harwich. Adam Rose, another local person. My point is, the majority of the people at this event were right in that age bracket. So we're talking 50, 70, 100 young men, who need this information. So by you sharing it, it kind of demystifies it for a lot of people. If they know that Kippy Diggs went through this experience and came out all right, they're going to be very encouraged to do the early testing as well. So thank you so much.
And
Representative
Andre,
Diggs.
can I say one more thing?
Of course.
What's neat about also is when you find out that you have it. Like, I have quite a few friends that of mine or people that I'm acquainted with that had it, and we talk to each other, and you give each other information so that it's one of those. It's a brotherhood that, of course, you don't want to be a part of, but then again, you want to be a part of if you're able to treat and do it the way, and a lot of us have been able to get it taken care of and are living a worthy, healthy life now afterwards. So, it's all about communication. So if anybody ever wants to talk about it, feel free to. It's one of those things, like I said, you talk. Just like the women talk about breast cancer, and they're just very a knit group. Well, same thing with the men with the prostate. So that's all I can say.
Thank you so much, Representative Diggs. Much appreciated. And so next, I want to introduce Lynn Rhodes, who is the president of our Cape Cod branch of the NAACP. Lynn wears a number of hats and does quite a bit in the community, but we're very pleased and fortunate to have Lynn as our president of the Cape Cod branch of the NAACP. Lynn Rhodes.
Hi, welcome everybody. Can you hear me? Because I don't think my sound is working.
We can hear you. Yes.
Oh, good. Because I wanted to ask a quick question of Representative Diggs, and before I put in my spiel, and you said that something didn't feel quite right, and I'm wondering, is it something that you had a problem that you felt like you always had to go to the bathroom and you weren't able to void, or was there something that we as women can be alerted to when we're talking with our male loved ones?
It's yeah, sure. I mean, you're getting ready to have intercourse,
Intimacy,
and everything is okay, and then you go limp. All of a sudden, just goes limp without anything. That's what would happen. And I was like, what the heck's going on? So that's the PG way that I could put it. I hope you understand. And
yes.
so it happened a couple of times, and then I was like, I'm going to get this checked out. This is crazy. I haven't done anything. So I went and got it checked out, and that's what happened for me. It could be different for
Okay.
others, but that's what happened with me.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, what I want to
Yeah.
clarify, President Rhodes, is that early stages of prostate cancer, what Representative Dix just described probably happened after his surgery. But for early stages of prostate cancer, there are no symptoms. That's why screening with blood test PSA is so important.
No, honestly, it happened before my surgery.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying. Yeah.
That's what happened. That's what made me go and get checked. Was
Okay,
that.
Got it.
And it was just one of those, again, some things happened to me that was just very different, but everyone is different. So we are, if you notice anything, don't be scared is really what I can say about that is, yeah, it happened before. And then that's when, I went and got checked out.
But generally, in most men, there are no symptoms whatsoever of early stages of prostate cancer. That's why proactive screening is very important.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I want to say thank you and welcome to the team of AdMeTech. And I so appreciate taking the time to come and educate our community. And I believe I'm not a baseball fan, but there's an intense game going on tonight. I'm sorry, that's my gallows humor, right? The Knicks are playing or something. So I think we're in big competition with that event, but I do appreciate everyone who's come and everyone who's here. This is our third year that we've had AdMeTech come, and I feel like the program just keeps improving, and I'm really excited, and I want to welcome everyone and welcome our guest speakers, and I look forward to this awesome presentation.
Thank you very much, President Lynn Rhodes, for your remarks. And so I want to move forward to introduce Guy Fish, who has a number of titles, medical doctor, MBA, and the CEO of Codman Square Health Center. Not able to be here, but he had a video. His video is the clinical perspective on prostate cancer screening and early detection, which we just talked about, as a means of reducing the health disparities. This is Dr. Fish's video, if I'm reading that correctly.
Hi, this is Dr. Guy Fish. I'm pleased to be speaking with you today at the AdMeTech conference with respect to prostate cancer, a topic which is near and dear to my heart. I have a few simple messages to communicate to you this morning. The first is that prostate cancer is something we should all take seriously. But if you have a father, husband, son, uncle, then you also need to take prostate cancer seriously. Why? Because let's face it, they have a hard time taking their own health seriously, and we need a little help. So, ladies, please get in the game with us. Number two, what is prostate cancer and why should we talk about it? Prostate cancer is among the leading causes of death for men in these United States, and it particularly is hard on Black and Brown communities. The number one cause of death for men, well, it depends on how old you are. For Black and Brown men under the age of 50, gun violence is certainly top of the list. But beyond that, we have the usual mortalities around cardiovascular death and cancer, and leading among cancer is prostate cancer in men. So let's take it seriously, because every time that a man dies prematurely of prostate cancer, that's a father, son, uncle who's not around to be at our birthday parties, at our celebration events. So let's make sure that generational wisdom and wealth and knowledge is passed down to our generations because they're around, not dying prematurely. So what is a prostate, and what does it mean to have prostate cancer? Prostate is a gland that is involved in the men's urological system. It's about the size of a walnut. It sits underneath the bladder, and it provides lubrication for sperm as they usher forth to produce children. Now, that gland is going to be there from the time that a man is born to the time that he dies. And along the way, like most organs in the body, those cells know what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to produce the fluids that I mentioned. They're supposed to reproduce themselves in an orderly way and die off in an orderly way, just as liver cells, kidney cells, and heart cells do all the time. And in the prostate gland, there's a possibility of cancer developing. And cancer means that the cells have forgotten who they are. They've forgotten certain rules about not continuing on forever, acting like they're immortal. And when that happens, they grow and grow and grow, and then they make a tumor, which can then seed other parts of the body and into places where it shouldn't be, such as the liver or the lung or the brain. So what we want to do when we are able to is to use the tools and technologies God has made available to us through human intelligence to detect prostate cancer early. Early detection and prevention are the keys to getting to better outcomes with respect to any cancer, but particularly for men in prostate cancer. So the good news is that it is actually fairly easy to detect prostate cancer early on. What is that, and how do you do that? Well, first thing you need to do is, again, recognize that you should be checking up on your health with your doctor. So men, let's schedule those doctor's appointments. We know we don't do that. We really need to get a scheduled doctor's appointment. And in that doctor's appointment, ask them to please check our prostate. Why? Because African-American and brown men have a higher rate of death from prostate cancer. It's not that our biology is different. It's that largely we don't let it become detected until it's too late to do something about it. Most men who have a prostate that is developing a tumor will probably die of other things many, many years later. But some may require surgery because it's moving aggressively or is at risk of spreading. And in that case, there are prostate surgeries which are done mostly robotically these days and minimally invasive. So you don't have to have a big scar like in the past. So what I'm describing is a journey which should engage you in terms of your desire to be here for your children, your grandchildren, your wife and family. It isn't scary. It's just a necessary type of screening that you need to do to be mindful of how you are doing, how your body is doing. We need to take ownership of that. The most important thing of everything that I'm saying is that you need to own this. You need to be an advocate for your own well-being. If your PSA and your prostate exam are going up, you may want to have more specialized testing done. There are new tests that are on the market which are helpful in determining which of these tumors are actually aggressive and which ones are pretty indolent, and you can let them sort of not be bothered with for a while until it changes its characteristic. But you really have to be an advocate for your own health. And that's the most important differentiator between the outcomes in Black and brown communities and the majority of population. How aggressive are we being, making those appointments, speaking to the doctors about what we want, and following up on those test results? That's up to you. And it's really up to you to ensure that you're here for your loved ones. So my personal history, my father died of prostate cancer. It was detected a little bit too late for much to be done. He was someone who, like most men, didn't really get his physical exams in on a regular basis and went on to pay the consequences. So I don't want that for you. I just had my annual exam last week. My PSA is in a normal range, thank God. And I will check it again next year. So I hope that when next time we meet, you can tell me that you've done the same. Thank you so much.
A helpful video from Dr. Fish. again, with perspectives on prostate cancer screening and early detection. So next, I want to introduce Dr. Thana Stern, who is the president and CEO of the AdMeTech Foundation. Dr. Stern is an international leader in the fight against prostate cancer and a lifelong advocate for health equity. Dr. Stern is the founder, president, and CEO of AdMeTech Foundation, as I just said, the Boston-based nonprofit organization where for more than 25 years, she has been a leading research, education, and advocacy, an advocate of early detection of prostate cancer, critical for saving lives and reducing health disparities. Dr. Stern is a daughter of a prostate cancer survivor, and her mission is personal and urgent to make sure no man dies because his cancer was found too late. Under her leadership, AdMeTech has become the driving force for the first U.S. congressional hearing on prostate cancer and for the Massachusetts legislature to become the first in the nation to recognize prostate cancer as a public health priority and leading health disparity. In 2016, Boston Business Journal named Dr. Stern as a woman of influence for her work on the AdMeTech Foundation's prostate cancer program. She has served as a faculty member in radiology at Mass General, Beth Israel, and Children's Hospitals of the Harvard Medical School, and as a senior leader at the National Cancer Institute, National Institutes of Health, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and as an advisor to the National Academy of Medicine, U.S. Congress, U.S. President Cancer Panel, Vice President Biden's Cancer Moonshot, the European Union, and other national and international organizations. We are very pleased to introduce Dr. Thana Stern.
Thank you so much, Mr. King, President Rhodes, Andrea. We are very grateful for the opportunity to have a joint annual third prostate cancer awareness event. We usually create videos to avoid PowerPoint problems during this event, and I will ask Hava, our team member, to please initiate the video. My name is Thana Stern. I'm a physician and founder of the AdMeTech Foundation, a non-profit organization providing leadership for groundbreaking programs in prostate cancer at the state, national, and international levels. Our programs have been transforming prostate cancer care for everyone and reducing health disparities in Black, Hispanic, and Latino men. It is our third annual prostate cancer event with Cape Cod NAACP, and I would like to thank President Rhodes and Andrea King for this partnership. I'll briefly review AdMeTech's prostate cancer program and focus on our equity resource project. AdMeTech's prostate cancer program created a Massachusetts model of national leadership in public awareness, medical education and research, and clinical care equity. We are grateful to Governor Healy, President Spilka, Speaker Mariano, and many other Massachusetts legislators who made this program possible. In particular, I'd like to thank Representative Kip Dix, Senator Fernandez, and other members of the Cape Cod delegation to the State House who support our program, including prostate cancer awareness event we have today. Our primary focus is on high-risk men, Black, Hispanic, and Latino individuals, and all men with family history of prostate cancer and increasing age, 50 and older. This program was initiated since 2009 in collaboration with multiple organizations and has 4 components: public awareness and community education, prostate cancer equity resource in clinical care, medical education, and research. Our public awareness and community outreach is focused on the most vulnerable and underserved individuals. Since January 2025, we reached over
20,000 underprivileged individuals. Since 2009, our public awareness and educational program reached over 80,000 people. The centerpiece of our medical education is AdMeTech's annual Global Summit on Precision Diagnosis and Treatment of Prostate Cancer. The latest 9th annual conference took place in September last year. Over 400 physicians took part in this event from just about every corner of the globe. Our media partners published over 60 scientific presentations, reaching over 35,000 international clinicians. Our summit brings together the key international experts representing every clinical expertise to review the best emerging clinical practices and research priorities. Indeed, our summit has been recognized as a seminal event in shaping the state-of-the-art and future vision for patient care. It is difficult to find any corner of the world that has not been reached by this event. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce Dr. Mitchell Sokolov, professor and chair of the Department of Urology at the University of Massachusetts School of Medicine. He is one of the leading clinical experts and a prostate cancer survivor. Dr. Sokolov will summarize recent advances in prostate cancer care discussed at our summit.
Morning. I'm Mitchell Sokolov, professor and chair of urology at UMass Chan Medical School and UMass Memorial Health. It is a pleasure to participate in this year's Prostate Cancer Awareness Day and review advances in prostate cancer screening, diagnosis, and treatment. Prostate cancer sits at the center of one of the most profound transformations in modern oncology. We are entering an era defined by precision. Advances in biomarkers, imaging, and genomics are allowing for a far more nuanced understanding of risk. Screening is no longer simply about detecting cancer. It's about identifying clinically significant disease while safely avoiding unnecessary intervention. Equally important are the advances in management. Innovations in new technology and advances in traditional therapies and precise surgical approaches are allowing us to tailor treatment intensity to disease biology to a degree that was previously unattainable. Taken together, these developments signal a shift not only in technology, but in philosophy. The goal is no longer simply to find and eradicate prostate cancer. It is to intelligently optimize oncologic outcome while minimizing harm, aligning treatment decisions with the individual patient's risks, values, and life expectancy. This slide represents the continuum in prostate cancer, highlighting the development and incorporation of smarter blood, urine, imaging, and genetic screening methodologies, precision diagnostics that result in improved and targeted biopsies, and innovations and advancements in treatments with the goal of optimizing oncologic outcomes while minimizing side effects. There is no doubt that screening for prostate cancer is an essential component of a man's healthcare. In the United States, prostate cancer remains the most common cancer in men and the second most deadly cancer among men. Of men diagnosed with prostate cancer, 40% will require treatment. Obviously, early diagnosis results in better outcomes. Prostate cancer screening has gotten smarter. We have improved detection of clinically significant cancer while reducing unnecessary biopsies. We have progressed from using just the PSA blood test by itself to using derivatives of PSA, using multivariate biomarkers such as 4K and PHI, and even newer panels, using molecular and genetic markers in the blood and urine, the so-called liquid biopsy. These blood-based and urine-based biomarkers improve risk stratification compared to PSA alone. Modern screening pathways increasingly use polygenic risk scoring, which identifies which men should be screened and how aggressively. This integrated, no one test fits all pathway is the real revolution, and the biggest advance isn't a single test, it's how they're combined. This layer approach reduces unnecessary biopsy, improves detection of clinically significant disease, and minimizes overdiagnosis. Another advancement is the incorporation of precision diagnostics. MRI is a central component. PET imaging is also being used. Combined with artificial intelligence, to best interpret imaging and pathology results, these diagnostics improve the detection of clinically significant disease and reduce overdiagnosis of low-risk prostate cancer. We have moved from the tradition of get a PSA and do a standard biopsy to a new norm, a new world where we use precision risk stratification, targeted imaging, and then selective biopsy. This is a fundamental shift, not just incremental improvement. There have also been quantum improvements in the approach to prostate cancer management. With advances in accurate and precision diagnosis and stratification, we can better identify those men who will benefit from treatment and provide them with the most appropriate treatment using a range of therapeutics from the least invasive to the most comprehensive. Active surveillance, focal therapy, surgery, and radiotherapy each have a specific and designated role in management. To reiterate, the goal is no longer simply to find and eradicate prostate cancer. It is to do so intelligently by maximizing oncologic outcomes while minimizing harm and aligning treatment decisions with an individual patient's risks, values, and life expectancy. The overarching trend in localized prostate cancer is individualization, matching the right treatment intensity to each man's tumor biology, age, health status, and quality of life priorities. The days of one treatment fits all has given way to a rich menu of options, from watchful waiting to high-tech radiation and high-tech robotic surgery. All of this increasingly guided by genomics, artificial intelligence, and advanced imaging. As you can see, these are truly exciting times we are advancing for the care of men with prostate cancer, and I am proud to practice in Massachusetts, which remains a leader nationally and internationally in the care of men with prostate cancer.
In our research, based on the summit recommendations, we focused on image-guided, minimally invasive treatment of prostate cancer. These procedures are called male lumpectomy to draw a parallel with minimally invasive treatment of breast cancer that has been available to women over 25 years and replaced radical mastectomy. Accurate imaging, including MRI, makes it possible to identify and remove prostate cancer while sparing surrounding normal tissues. This is in sharp contrast to radical surgery when the entire prostate is removed. Male lumpectomy can be performed in ambulatory clinics with reduced complications, discomfort, and cost compared to radical surgery. And yet, over the last several years, our summit showed that male lumpectomy has remained experimental for more than 45 years. At the same time, when breast lumpectomy became a new standard of care. 3 years ago, in 2023, based on the summit recommendations, we established international working group to accelerate transfer of male lumpectomy from laboratories to patients. This study was initiated in 2025 in Massachusetts. At least 25% of men newly diagnosed with prostate cancer each year will benefit from access to male lumpectomy with significantly improved quality of life. Expected cost savings are estimated to be at least $40 million in procedural costs and additional $40 million in hospitalization costs. Since 2021, our summit highlighted that equal access to high-quality care is the key factor in improving patient outcomes for all men and eliminating health disparities in Black men. It is particularly important now with so many novel diagnostic and therapeutic approaches, ensuring high-quality, personalized patient care. Without equal access to these advances in patient care, we will see a widening gap in health inequalities, including survival and mortality. Consequently, in 2022, AdMeTech launched Prostate Cancer Equity Resource Project in Massachusetts in collaboration with Mass General Brigham and UMass, with the mission to save lives and deliver high-quality care for all. More recently, experts at the Beth Israel Lahey joined this effort. Supporting organizations include Latino Health Insurance Program and multiple NAACP branches located across the state. Any Massachusetts man age 40 and older can take part in this program. Our priority focus is on Black, Hispanic, and Latino men at higher risk of prostate cancer, delayed diagnosis, poor quality care, and death. The goal is to expedite access to leading experts who use the most advanced approaches to screening, diagnosis, and treatment available today, and to support men every step of their prostate health journey. This program helps men to find an expert for initial or a second opinion, in-person or virtual visits. We strongly believe that our prostate cancer equity resource, integrated with our large-scale public awareness campaign, has been placing Massachusetts in a strong position to become the first state in our country to eliminate health disparities. Experts of the Prostate Cancer Equity Program can address any question about prostate health, from assessing an individual healthy man's personal risk of cancer to informing men about available options before and after screening, biopsy, and treatment. We are committed to supporting men during every step of their prostate health journey to ensure that no man is left behind or struggling alone. To achieve this goal, we created a streamlined process of patient referral and care. This process assures that every man who comes to our program is taken care of in the way our AdMeTech team and doctors would like to take care of our families and friends. Emma Coyer serves as a manager of the Prostate Cancer Equity Resource Project. Emma is assisted by Erin Roberts, program coordinator, Craig McClay, patient educator, and other members of the AdMeTech Foundation's team. When you come to us, I will work with you, our team, Mass General Brigham, UMass, Beth Israel, and other clinical partners to expedite medical visits and address any needs you may have. Together, we empower each man to make informed choices that are right for him before and after screening, biopsy, and treatment. If you have any questions about our program or need assistance, please contact Emma by phone 617-523-3535 or by email coordinator@admeTechFoundation.org. I would like to provide a recent example of how Equity Resource Project has been making a difference. About 2 months ago, a state representative expressed concern about Richard, a 63-year-old Black man in his district who was recently diagnosed with prostate cancer, but was unhappy with his care. Several days later, Richard contacted us. He was concerned that he was offered invasive radical surgery with all the related complications and no clear information about other possible treatment options. We refer him to one of the leading clinical experts. On March 4, Richard contacted AdMeTech to explain that a letter from his primary care physician was required prior to his visit with our doctor, but he was not sure how to obtain it. We guided him through the appropriate steps. 2 weeks later, Richard saw a PCE expert who reviewed all his clinical testing and explained all the available options. Based on this information, Richard became clear about his options. He was happy that our expert recommended active surveillance and non-invasive clinical observation instead of radical surgery. Richard expressed trust and confidence in his new medical team and chose them for the future clinical care. We asked Richard to share his story.
So with the urologist, back to the PSA scores being slightly elevated, I did have a digital exam. I was told slightly swollen, and there was a recommendation to have, I believe it's an ultrasound. And from the ultrasound, we went to MRIs. Now, in the meantime, I'm trying to understand what's going on because I'm not getting any real answers or any indicators. It's just other than the PSA scores and trying to understand what may be happening. But I don't have a clear idea of what we're doing here. All I know is that we've been trying to figure out some things regarding my blood pressure, my cholesterol, and some other indicators that I don't remember off the top of my head. So then finally, after we had the MRI, I was told that I had prostate cancer. And I go, why didn't it give me an idea or a clue to what that may be leading to, these exams, the MRI, the ultrasound, stemming from PSA into the digital, which I know these are all, I think they call them identifiers leading up to these progressions. So, okay. I still don't have a clear idea or understanding as to what's happening with having prostate cancer. They weren't clear identifiers to me, some erectile dysfunction, and I think that was also contributing to some of the medication and other mental concerns that I had thinking about all of this. So finally, I had an opportunity to talk to specialists. I'm just saying the referral was, Mr. Myers, you only have 2 options based on these Gleason scores. Now, this is something else I had to think about. What are Gleason scores? I had to look that up on my own. I have a better understanding of what that is, what that means, which is the concern. And I'm going, really? Okay, well, I have to understand that. I don't understand that. And that wasn't necessarily explained to me well enough to make me feel comfortable, even listening to the 2 specialists that I had to make an appointment to see. One was I had to do with radiation, and the other had to do with surgery. And I said, these are my only options. I said, oh, the impression that I got was that I was at a low risk, and other than really talking about any other options other than radiation, we were talking surgery. And I said, that's really not what I was hoping for, not knowing what I was going to be told based on the results, and where I'm not an educated person in the sense of understanding these medical terms and what Gleason and PSA and all that means. I had to do a lot of digging and researching for myself. And of course, there's a lot of information out there, and we're a little evasive. And that caused concern, caution. So I talked to some friends who I knew going through similar things and did have a procedure and was trying to understand what it is that I need to be looking for. What should I see to know for myself if this is what's going to happen? And then once I started reaching out, trying to find out more information that would help me, then that's when a friend referred me to AdMeTech. And I appreciated that referral very much so, because I talked to a Dr. Stern, very nice lady, very kindly spoken. And she helped me understand that, I have every right to have the concerns that I have, and I should have my answers for the questions that I have regarding this whole thing about my life now going to go through some kind of change. If you don't make the right decision, it's just a big change. And I know that because of the testimonies of 2 or 3 people that I talked to. And I appreciate the quickness and the response and her efforts and the willingness to help me by referring me to someone else who can give me some answers. And I appreciate that very much. The person I did talk to, it was Dr. Adam Keibel. And I liked him. Not that I didn't like the other guys. The other guys was just real technical, And I don't have a problem with technical as long as they're good at what they do. But at the same time, for a person hearing that they have prostate cancer, or any cancer for that matter, anything that's that concerning for the first time, I think there should be some, I don't want to say necessarily kindness, but at least some thought behind who you're talking to. This is not another number or another person, okay, that you see thousands of in a month or a week or how many, whatever the number is. Don't treat me like that number. And that's how I felt in the first two conversations with the two specialists that I spoke to. But with Dr. Kaibo, I did not have that feeling. I had a genuine rapport with him, and he was willing to take the time that he got allowed to give me, to share with me some things to give me a better understanding. Now, I thought, in all honesty, is that he was going to tell me the same thing I was already told. It's either surgery or radiation, and that wasn't the answer that I got. I got one that was more less invasive, if you will. One that was, well, you're not there. And he explained to me the elevation of the PSA and how sometimes that those can be read a different way depending on how it's perceived. And not to say anything negative about anyone, but just saying, some experts may see something a little different. And the same thing with my MRI. Of course, he looked at the records, the identifiers to show that, so he can understand how to have this conversation with me. And he also performed a digital examination to help me to understand that he needed to see or feel for himself what's going on. And the confirmation was, no, you're not swollen. It seems to be normal. Him being a surgeon and an expert at his craft, he confirmed with me that that's not something that he would recommend, which is surgery, the removal of the prostate. And I was kind of surprised. And I said, why? Because I wasn't expecting that answer. And he took the time to explain to me 3 different scenarios. One, radiation, the other was removal, and the other one was observation, monitoring. And why each one of them were recommended, but why we wouldn't choose the 2 of the 3, if you will. And then we also talked about radiation, which is like a fusion type process where it's like a saber or laser radiation concentration, and you'll probably have several sessions depending on, what it takes to take care of that. And of course, there's side effects that you have to deal with concerning that process. And he said no to both of those, and felt that strongly that based on his readings and his pathologist and what the readings were regarding, my records and what he felt from the digital exam, that those 2 procedures, those 2 options weren't necessary. The better option would be observation, monitoring. And I was more happy and elated, not just because of the news, but the fact that, now I don't have to think as much about these other 2 options, because I thought that was it, that I just had to make a decision based on one of these 2, not realizing that I had a third option, which to me is the better option, because the way it's explained to me, the cancer may not even grow anymore than what it is. It may not progress anymore, or it may, and then I have the other options available. But if I do one of the other 2, then now my options are limited. And then if need be, follow up with a biopsy, I can agree with that. So that's pretty much my story. I appreciate the people who stepped in to help me out, to help me have an understanding, to make a better decision. And I feel like if I ever hear anyone talking about prostate or anything of that nature, urinating, having problems with urine, I'm going to speak up, because I don't think there's enough, at least in my experience, people of color who talk about their manhood, if you will, like that. It's either they're embarrassed or there's not too many people who've had experience with talking to others about something that, you know, it has an effect, but it doesn't have to be that way. At least get educated in some way. Because if I didn't have, I believe, the situation started all this, and it started this path, this journey of trying to figure out some things, I probably wouldn't have known I had prostate cancer until maybe I would have to do option 1 or 2. I'm very happy that.
We are very grateful to Dr. Sokolov for providing video on recent advances in patient care, and we are very grateful to Mr. Richard Myers for sharing his personal story with prostate cancer and how our prostate cancer equity program and our experts impacted his experience. This concludes our presentation for today, and we will be happy to take any questions.
Dr. Stern, I did have an initial question for you, particular scenario. So if my general practitioner seems to have general concerns about the PSA test, but did not discuss or recommend a PSA screening for me, would you recommend that I have a prostate screening anyway in that situation?
This is a very important question because if your general practitioner has general concern about PSA screening, unfortunately, the history of understanding of PSA testing in general medical community has a very rocky, it's a very rocky history. And there is a lot of misperception in general medical community about this testing, particularly for high-risk men. There are reasonable concerns historically about PSA screening, screening for prostate cancer with a PSA blood test, because without historically, like 10 years ago, 8 years ago, and longer, in the past, we did not have accurate diagnostic tools. So when men had abnormal PSA testing, he was sent immediately for biopsy without imaging to identify where the problem was. So this had led to a lot of unnecessary biopsies, as Dr. Sokolov alluded to. This had led to even a lot of unnecessary treatment. But all of it is in the past. In general, not every general practitioner will have full knowledge about rapid advances in precision diagnostic tools described by Dr. Sokolov. And what is really important message today, that the past concerns about PSA screening are not really applicable or relevant to men at high risk of prostate cancer, including Black men, Hispanic Black men, Latino Black men, or any man with family history of prostate cancer, or any man age 50 and above. These are men at high risk of prostate cancer. They absolutely need screening. Men who have this high risk need to start screening at the age of 40. And it's really an important information for men to have, because if a general practitioner, if you're at high risk of prostate cancer and your general practitioner is not recommending PSA screening, or is giving you a sort of answers that are not clear for you, the important message today, if you are a Black man, if you are men of any ethnicity and race who had brother with prostate cancer or father with prostate cancer or family history in your of this disease, if you are age 50 and and above, you must get screening for prostate cancer. It's no longer arguable. But so if your general practitioner leaves you with uncertainty, it's really important to ask for a referral for prostate cancer expert. You're welcome to discuss it with your general practitioner, or you're welcome to come to us. Urologist, a specialist for prostate cancer screening, like Dr. Adam Keibel, that helped Richard Myers, will be able to decide together with you, will be able to provide full cutting-edge clinical information that you need to make a choice whether or not prostate screening is right for you and how to go about it. I think we have a question, Mr. Haskell.
Yes, thank you. I just want to emphasize early detection. It's what gave me an option that maybe you don't have. And I was given the same choice as the Richard in the video there, radiation or surgery. And fortunately, I was done enough research. I'll be very quick here, but I was able to defeat the cancer with a whole food plant-based diet. But I would not have had that option if I hadn't had PSA screenings. And the point about PSA screenings is that there is no absolute. I was at a quote elevated PSA for years, but I had PCPs and urologists that understood that, and it wasn't until it started going up that they sort of said, let's start to look into this. So that's the only point I want to make is get screened, establish a baseline, and you may have to push back on your doctor when you said, oh, that PSA is a little elevated. Well, that may just be you. You may always have an elevated PSA. But thank you.
Thank you so much. So the most important message here is if you have high risk, I described Black heritage, family history of prostate cancer, you're age 50 and older, it is really important to start discussing prostate cancer screening with your GP, or if you also can request recommendation with prostate cancer expert. If you do not have risk, according to the best information today, it is really important to start prostate cancer screening at the age of 45. And that is something that is most important. And I really want to emphasize the message that Mr. Haskell just delivered, importance of early detection. If we are able to detect prostate cancer early, these men survive, every man survives, will be alive in 5 years. If we detect prostate cancer late, when it already escaped beyond prostate, into surrounding tissue, into particularly distant organs, only 28% will be alive within the same period of time in 5 years. So it's really early detection is critical for saving lives. Any other questions?
I just had another question. I didn't see anybody raise their hand. What age do you believe, and you just gave a few age ranges, but I'm interested, what age do you believe men should start the prostate cancer screening? And I'll just preface that again, as somebody that loves sports. Go Knicks in our game tonight. I know we'll get there very, so go Knicks. I apologize if I offend, but I don't apologize because I was born in New Jersey. But I just came from one of the men's leagues that I play, and I mentioned this, with 10 teams of guys who are all, early 20s, and then we have men in their mid 50s that are playing in this league, and trying to stay active and all different parts of the journey. But I really feel strongly after getting this information that I need to kind of put this bug in their ear, because, and I'll just conclude, these are all guys that, played sports, continue to play, that are all pretty active and healthy, but I can tell you, I've been involved. We have never mentioned prostate cancer, not once, but now we will be talking about it. So again, what age do you believe men should start the prostate cancer screening, or just have this in their minds?
Absolutely. As I mentioned, Mr. King, if men have any prostate cancer risk that I mentioned, particularly Black men, men with family history of prostate cancer, men 50 and older, these are risk factors. These men need to start screening at the age of 40. If men do not have these risk factors, they need to start screening at the age of 45. Why it is so important? We call it baseline PSA screening result. This result will determine, is the most important testing result we have today to determine the next step in clinical care and how frequently screening needs to occur for the next decade. Would it be once a year? Would it be once in 2 years? Would further diagnostic evaluation necessary? Would even biopsy be necessary?
Thank you. And I don't know if
I actually
yes.
have a question here in our in the office, and there's a level of men or children and adults in general who don't have access to their family history. With that being said, would there be any other indicators that might lead to the suspicion that they might be high risk for cancer?
That's a great question. If men or their families do not have information about the history of prostate cancer, in my judgment, it must be assumed they are at high risk. And they need to be clinically managed as high-risk individuals. And that's where prostate cancer test will be very important, because the first prostate cancer test will tell, and it's a simple blood test, that will tell physicians, particularly experts, what to do next and what would be the best for this particular man.
Okay. So that would affect the ability for the insurance to pay for them if they identify as being high risk?
Starting at the age of 40. And
Okay.
actually a lot of insurance companies right now support, they support screening without charging patients at all.
Okay. So at one point, I thought I heard somebody say starting to screen at the age of 30.
40.
Do you correct on that?
We
At
do
40.
not have evidence, yes. The best evidence we have today shows that the best value of blood test with PSA starts at the age of 40. For
Okay.
high-risk men,
Thank you.
and at the age of 45 for men who do not have high risk of prostate cancer we discussed. Any other questions?
We don't have any other questions here in our meeting room. Anybody on Zoom? Oh,
I do
I
not believe we have questions in the chat room or in Q&A. Mr. King, back to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Stern. And I just wanted to thank everybody after our Q&A for attending. Again, just for me personally, these are very helpful and impactful, and kind of almost a call to action. But I want to thank the representatives from AdMeTech for helping to coordinate this event, and then of course everyone from our branch for attending. And I look forward to this partnership, me personally, going forward. And again, it's a busy time of year, and everybody's busy. but this is important, and so I can do my part to kind of get the to help people to raise awareness, which is why we're here. So thank you, and with that,
very much.
I
Thank
think
you.
we are ready to adjourn.
Yeah, if anyone has any question, if anyone needs help, if your family members, if your friends have concerns or questions, you're welcome to contact us, and have just listed our number 617-523-3535 or email coordinator@admetechfoundation.org. I also am sure that President Rhodes and Mr. King will be able to share our information if you or your community members, your friends or family need help. Have a great evening.